Hey, my name's Ethan. I build a lot of websites and landing pages with a big focus on performance and page speed. And today I'm going to show you the thing I do that gives me the highest return on investment when I'm trying to improve page speed. It's very difficult to get a page that loads very fast, but it's not that hard to get a page that loads relatively fast. So that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the 20% that gets you the 80% of results. So first thing, why does this even matter? If your load times are slow, you get a really high bounce rate. People just leave your site before they even see your site because stuff didn't load. It's hard to find accurate data on this because most people collecting the data are trying to sell you stuff. But on average, from the data I've found, if you have a 3-second load time, you get about a 10% bounce rate. But if you add 2 seconds to a 5-second load time, you get a 40% bounce rate. So it's pretty exponential, and you really want to try to get your load time below 3 seconds because it goes up quickly, the number of people that just leave your site. And then it starts to level off around 8 seconds, 60 to 70% bounce rate. So what is load time? It should be pretty obvious. It's how long it takes for the page to load. But when I say load time, I'm specifically talking about the largest contentful paint. That's the LCP. It's basically just the time it takes for all the important stuff to get on the page. If you want to check your load time, you want to check your largest contentful paint, and you haven't already, go to PageSpeed Insights. This is owned by Google, and what you want to do is punch in your URL. It'll give you a report like this, and then you'll have your LCP right here. You probably won't have an LCP that's this fast, but the goal is just to get your website to a point where you're not going to completely kill your conversions by having a 5-second and 8-second LCP. So the thing we're going to do is improve the image delivery. If you haven't done this already, then this will almost certainly be the best thing you can do to improve your website performance. I'm going to do this in 3 steps. Step number 1 is optimize your images. You see this everywhere, and for good reason. It's the most important thing you can do. If you're going to do one thing and not watch the rest of this, just optimize your images. There's 2 things you need to do to optimize your images. Convert it to a web-friendly format. The biggest one right now is WebP. And the second thing is just reduce your image size. If your monitor is 1920 pixels wide and you have a 3000 pixel image, that means your browser has to load a 3000 pixel image just to display a 1920 pixel wide image. And that's only if you have a full banner image. Most images on a website are going to be 600, 700 pixels wide. So if you're any bigger than that, then you're loading a large image and only displaying a smaller image. You don't get higher resolution from having a bigger image. You just make your website load slower. We're going to use ezgift.com for this. There's lots of online services you can use to convert formats and reduce the image size. EasyGift is super easy. You can do them both in one place. So this is ezgift.com. Go to resize, choose the file that you want to optimize, hit the upload button. Now once your image loads, you're going to hit this button up here that says to WebP. If that isn't there, then go to convert and hit to WebP. You're going to set the image quality factor to around between 75 and 85 is usually best. I'm going to go with 80. If you go too low, the image will be small, but it will look terrible. So it's going to convert it to a WebP format, and then you're going to hit this resize button right here. If this image is going to be a full banner image, so it's going to fill up the entire screen like a hero section, then 1920 pixels is the most you ever want to go because that's the resolution of an HD monitor. For images that are half the screen, which is most images on a website, you're going to want to go 800 pixels or sometimes even less. 800 should be more than enough. You're going to hit the resize image button. It's going to shrink the image, and we went from a 5 megabyte image to 60 kilobytes. Then we're just going to hit save. We're going to take this image, we're going to add it to our website, and already the performance will be a lot better. Now, step 2, loading priority. You need to add lazy loading, and you need to add high fetch priority to the important images. So to know where you add these things, we have to look at above the fold versus below the fold. Above the fold is everything that's on the screen when you first get to the website. Below the fold is everything that's not on the screen below. So if you scroll down, all that stuff that you see is below the fold. Your hero section is above the fold. So we're going to pull up the code to our website, and now we're going to find an image like this right here. We're just looking at this one line. If this image is above the fold, then what we're going to do is add fetch priority equals high. This is going to tell the browser to grab this before anything else so we can load it right away, because this is going to be on the visitor's screen when they first get to the website, so you want this to load immediately. If the image is not on the screen, it's below the fold, then you want to add the tag loading equals lazy. This is pretty much the opposite. It tells the browser to wait until the user scrolls down to that point to load it, so it doesn't have to load everything on the entire page when you first get there. It just loads as you go, which makes everything a whole lot faster. So that's all you have to do for this section. Above the fold, add a high fetch priority, and below the fold, add lazy loading. The final step is source sets. The idea of a source set is that you want to load a big image on desktop and a small image on mobile. Because if you're loading a huge image on mobile, the screen is so small that you can't see the high resolution image, but it takes way longer to load because mobile devices are weaker and slower than desktop devices. So the first thing we have to do is go back to EasyGIF, and in EasyGIF we're going to resize our image again for a width of 480 pixels, hit resize image, and then save this new smaller version of the image right here. Now there's a couple different ways we can add this to our website. The classic way is with the source set and sizes attributes. There's lots of tutorials on how to do it like this, but the way I prefer to do it is with the picture and source tags because it gives you a little bit more control. So once you've added the smaller mobile image somewhere in your website directory, we're going to go back to the image tag that we had before. This has a fetch priority high, so it's in the hero section. And the first thing we're going to do is add this picture tag. We're going to take our image, we're going to put it inside the picture tag, and then we're also going to add the source tag. Inside this tag, there's going to be two attributes. Number one is the source set, and this is just going to be the location of your mobile image. So in my case, I have it in a subfolder called mobile, and then the next attribute is going to be a media attribute. This is going to tell the browser when to load the smaller images and when to load the larger image. We're going to set the minimum width to 0 pixels, and we're going to set the max width to 480 pixels. Now this tells the browser to load this much smaller image when the screen size is below 480 pixels, and to load this bigger desktop image when the screen size is above that. So for larger devices, it'll load the desktop, the high resolution image, and for smaller devices, it'll load this image right here. And that is everything I got. 3 things, kept it really simple. If you do these 3 things, your performance is going to be better than 90% of the websites on the internet without having to go super deep on the stuff that gives you really marginal returns. Let me know if this helped, and yeah, take it easy.